Hey guys, this is a 2005 Chevrolet SSR, the legendary pickup truck convertible with a locking tonneau cover. But because this is a 2005, it means it has the mighty LS2 6-liter V8 under the hood. And if you like the way this particular truck tends to present itself, it's actually going to be for sale. It's heading to the 2024 Mecum Glendale auctions. It has just 6,000 miles and it's going to be running across the block on Friday. So if you like the one that we'll be covering today as we go through the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, take it for a drive, you can actually bid on it and own this exact truck. So moving on to the exterior of this particular truck. Now, obviously, it's in fantastic shape thanks to the very low miles, and it has received an aftermarket paint job, which I think really embellishes the whole theme of the SSR, which was, of course, inspired by the late 40s Chevrolet advanced design pickup trucks. Now, as we take a look, we can even see that this truck has been equipped with a variety of different options as well. Now, sort of looking at the front of the truck, we have this nice silver bar, which is sort of there to embellish some of the chrome that would have been on the original trucks. We have this nice Chevrolet piece up top that I'd like to think could actually fit on the late advanced design pickup trucks because it looks just like it would have come out in the late 40s, and it looks fantastic. This particular truck, even sporting the aqua blur finish, has this really nice shimmer and color change throughout it, which is also why the flames that are on the vehicle as well also do a bit of the color changing. So it has a really cool effect to it that you could argue would have rivaled, let's say, the Ford colors that existed in their color shift for the Mustangs. Now, as we move on, we actually have the chrome wheels on this, and the SSR came with staggered wheels. So you'd find that you'd have 19s in the front, and then you'd have 20s in the rear. And in this particular case, these wheels are chrome, so that was a $1,500 option to actually get these fitted over the standard satin silver wheels. The other thing that you can find on here is the actual floorboards as well. These were also an option, so not every SSR has them, but they are in fact equipped on this particular truck, and they look fantastic. Now, underneath it all, it's important to point out that these trucks were actually given sport suspension. They were based on the Trailblazer, but they actually have things like sway bars and stabilizer bars and things like that that are actually there for performance, and including a 5-link rear end with a limited slip differential, all important things for the aspect of performance. Now, perhaps the most important part of this entire truck, you could argue, is its convertible nature. If you come back here, we have these mirrors that look almost like they could have come off the C5 Corvette, and then we have the actual convertible mechanism, which is a powered hardtop. Now, the benefit of having a powered hardtop over a standard soft top is the fact that this is also going to improve your wind noise. So if you were to take your SSR on the highway, it's not going to have anywhere near as much noise as it would have if it was a soft top. So if you've driven a soft top convertible, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's a fairly decently fast mechanism that is, of course, powered, so it goes up and down in about 18 seconds in one direction, I should say, which is a pretty cool feature. As we move back to the rear, we actually have the various sort of bits we talked about earlier with the 5-link, our larger 20-inch wheels in the rear, but more importantly, in the back is the locking tonneau cover. So this was a tonneau cover that could be unlocked and raised with just the push of a button on the key fob. And of course, we have our nice circular vintage style taillights. And of course, this truck even has the more special options, which includes the rear tailgate with the wood coverings and even the storage boxes, which were also additional features that could be purchased from the dealer at an extra cost. So this is a fairly loaded SSR as far as things go, but that's a quick look at the exterior, including the dual exhaust in the rear for the awesome 6-liter V8. So under the hood of this Super Sports Roadster, because it's a 2005, means we get the big, bad, naturally aspirated LS2 6-liter V8, good for 390 horsepower, which was a considerable improvement over the previous engines. Now, the SSR was in production between 2003 and 2006, and initially it came with a Vortec 5.3-liter V8, good for about 300 horsepower, but they decided that wasn't enough because this truck weighs 4,700 pounds. It needs as much power as possible to live up to its Super Sports Roadster name. Now, once they put this big, bad 390 horse 6-liter in it, now the SSR can do 0 to 60 in just 5.5 seconds, which is insanely fast, a huge improvement over the 7.7 seconds of the 5.3-liter V8. This also had a quarter-mile time around 14.1 seconds. Obviously, that could be improved with just even adding slicks to the back, but it was a staggeringly fast vehicle and, of course, had a limited top speed of 125 miles per hour, which is to be expected because it's still a truck after all based on that Trailblazer platform. But this was definitely a more sporting engine, and it was paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission in this instance, which would be the 4L65E, but there was also a 6-speed manual that would have been available exclusively for the massive 6-liter V8. On top of that, in the rear end, you also have a Torsen limited slip differential, which means this is going to be a lot better at putting the power down or even doing burnouts if that's what you wanted to use your SSR for. So it's a fantastic engine that offered a lot of performance gains and only came in the later SSRs, which, this being one of, is a fantastic engine. One of the other things I want to point out was a quality of life update. So in the engine bay, you can notice the hood is actually held up by these struts here, and that was a huge change because the 5.3 cars actually just had a basic stick. So if you want a quality of life update, there's just one more reason to get the bigger, badder 6-liter SSR. So moving on to the interior of the SSR, the 6-liter still had a similar interior to that of the 5.3 liters, but it's an SSR, so we have the exclusive retro styling. This particular truck happens to be finished in ebony, or black as it's called, and we have the cool textured finish. We even have a lot of these silver highlights, which would be shared with the exterior of the vehicle, but more importantly, or my favorite part, is the fact that the exterior color gets carried over into the interior as well, which was a factory thing. So we have our beautiful optional aqua blur metallic paint in the center here, and it also goes over the doors into the interior and onto the dash. So you can experience your optional color both on the inside and the exterior as you walk away looking back at your SSR. Now, moving on to a lot of the features and functionality, this specific SSR also has the preferred package. So what does that include? Well, that includes all sorts of awesome luxuries, things like heated power seats, that's 6-way for the driver and 2-way for the passenger. Of course, you get a Bose sound system, which is also a fantastic piece to have in your vehicle as well. And this particular truck, because it's got only 6,000 miles, is in absolutely fantastic shape. You can look at the sort of leather finished seats, which have the heating element in them that looks absolutely fantastic. And they even come with a bit of side bolstering to hold you in position while you're doing your sporty or aggressive driving in your Super Sports Roadster. Now, moving on to the other bits, we do have some steering wheel controls in front of us. We have a cool retro-themed SSR dash, which even has SSR branding in it, which is something you always want to see when you're in a cool, super exclusive performance truck like this. We have our radio here in the center with our climate controls as well. So obviously we have AC. And then below that, we have a few more gauges, including a sort of torque gauge. We even have an outside temp gauge and a battery meter here as well. In the middle, we have our shifter, which is obviously retro-inspired for our 4-speed automatic transmission. And then below that, we have all the, let's say, exciting controls. So that includes your window controls, your top controls, lock and unlock, and of course, traction control if you wanted to do some exciting driving in that instant. But just behind that, we have this armrest, which also doubles as a storage cubby. So you can push the button, you can go ahead and open it up, and in here you'll find the SSR manual, which is a fantastic thing that'll obviously be included if you bid and win this SSR, which is fantastic. There's also a few different things that were sort of hidden, including we have this change drawer pocket over here that pops out. We have another cup holder here that pops out. And then we actually have the mounting point you can see here where it's not currently in there, but the additional cup holder could be mounted here or on the other side here of the driver's side. So that's where your 2 cup holders would come in on the SSR, but they didn't want to ruin the major appearances of the vehicle when you weren't using them. So an overall really cool thing. You obviously have the power mirrors that can be adjusted. You have some of your garage door opener controls and all that. That would be standard for the time, but a really cool retro-inspired interior that is in great condition on this particular 6.0 powered SSR. In conclusion, the SSR is a fantastic retro-futuristic pickup truck, which of course harkens the design days of the late 1940s Chevrolet advanced design pickup trucks. And this particular truck, equipped with the mighty LS2 6-liter V8, makes this one the fastest of the SSRs and by far the most desirable. Between the total production between about 2003 and 2006, they produced around 24,180 SSRs in total, with about 24,118 of those being the production vehicles. But this is a fantastic variant of one of the fastest versions in the epitome of SSRs that you can purchase, because this particular aqua blur metallic example with the excellent flames on it that really embellish the SSR-ness is of course heading to auction. So you can buy it. It has just over 6,000 miles on the odometer, and it's going to be going up for auction on Friday at the 2024 Mecum Glendale auction. So you can own this exact vehicle that we featured today. Now, of course, if you enjoyed the video, could hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it, and consider getting subscribed for more content like this in the future. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.